And welcome into another edition of Musso at the Box. LSU will pack their bags and head for Chapel Hill, where they will be the number 2 seed in the regional hosted by the 4th overall national seed, North Carolina Tar Heels. LSU's first game will be against Wofford, who is the 3 seed, and Long Island, the Sharks, round out the regional as the 4 seed. They will face North Carolina. The regional is paired with Tucson, Arizona. The Wildcats, of course, Jay Johnson's former team, which could create a few interesting storylines if LSU can take care of business, win on the road, and come out of the North Carolina regional, and Arizona takes care of business at home. You could potentially see Jay Johnson versus his former team in a super regional, which, again, as we said, that's just a lot of storylines that'd be very fun to follow, very fun to cover. It would be juicy, to say the least. So we'll go through the draw that LSU got, because that Tucson regional is one of the more interesting ones on the board as well. So I do want to have some thoughts. LSU's little corner of the bracket is intriguing for a lot of different reasons. There's a lot of variety in the teams. They do a lot of different things well. And you just have the potential for some really, really interesting matchups. So we'll run through all of that here. Y'all smash the like button, get subscribed if you have not already. Also get subscribed on your favorite podcast app. That's greatly appreciated. And let's kind of go through it. The SEC got 11 teams in. Hate to say I told you so, but I told you so. And we will talk plenty about that as well, because it's a record-setting day for the league. It's awesome. The committee got it right. And we'll lay out why we were so bullish on that happening. If you didn't know the reasoning, you missed my reasoning for it, we can run back through it, because that's an awesome day for the league. And it speaks to how strong. It's just another illustration of the depth that was the SEC. So we'll go through all of that. Let's start though with LSU's draw. So LSU, they're on the road, 2 seed in Chapel Hill. Their first game, like we said, will be against Wofford. When I look at the draw as a whole for LSU, it's not the regional of death, but it's also not something that I would classify as a favorable draw. North Carolina is really good. Like, if you're going on the road to not just a top 8 seed, but a top 4 seed, it's really hard to classify that as favorable. They're really good. The ACC is far and away the second best conference in college baseball. They got 6 host sites this go-round, one more than the SEC, because the committee decided to host Mississippi State and give a host to East Carolina when they didn't deserve one. But 6 host sites from that league. North Carolina went 22-8 and won the ACC regular season championship. Like, that's a really good ball club. That's a team that was 32-2 at home this year, and they get to host. Those two things on the surface, you look at this and say, okay, yeah, that's going to be tough for LSU to overcome. Now, if you're looking at this from a North Carolina perspective, don't sit here and think that they're happy with the draw that they got. I mean, North Carolina, they did everything that we just said. They won the second best league in the country. They're a top 4 national seed. And you get the defending national champions? That's a rough draw for them. It's a rougher draw for them. Obviously, you're looking at it through their lens. But if I had to I think the draw for LSU is just right. That's what I think. I don't think it's favorable. I don't think it's the regional of death. I think it's just right. Wofford's going to present some interesting challenges for Gage Jump and for the Tigers on Friday, and we'll go deep dive into that game. Obviously, we'll deep dive. We'll spend a show each day this week looking at each team, even Long Island. Like, we will look at all of them. But I like it. I think LSU has plenty of opportunity offensively in this regional. North Carolina, you look at them, they are one of the more complete teams in the country, offense, defense, and pitching. A top 15 team ERA. They hit over 300 as a club. They got 2 guys with 20 home runs. Like, they are a similar offense to LSU. They just hit for a higher average. but like power's comparable, things of that nature. So, you like that. This is a winnable regional for LSU. It is winnable. Like I don't think you should be surprised if LSU goes on the road and does this, but this also isn't one where you look at it like you did in 2021 and just say, okay, yeah, LSU should actually be the favorite in that regional. That's why I say it's just right. Is it winnable? Yes. Is LSU the favorite? Absolutely not. That is the homestanding North Carolina Tar Heels, and they should be. There are some familiar names on that team that you should know if you follow college baseball. Obviously, Vance Honeycutt has just been all everything for North Carolina for a very long time. He's had a great career. He's their home run leader this year. He's hitting over 300. Like, he's a veteran guy. Parks Harbor transferred over from Georgia. So I mean that's a name that you should absolutely be familiar with from his time in the SEC, and his name is Parks Harbor. It's just fantastic. Like, it's one of the best private school names ever. And he's hitting 350 and also has 20 home runs. So, and none of those guys, like neither of those guys are the leading hitter on the team. That's Gavin Galler. So it's a good club. You look at what they have on the mound, just like kind of an overview. They have a really nice 1-2 punch with Jason DeCaro and Shea Sprague. Ignore the garbage truck outside my window if you can hear that. So a nice 1-2 punch there, as you would expect. And then Dalton Pence. Dalton Pence at the back end of their bullpen is one of the elite closers in college baseball. 30 appearances on the year for him and 6 saves. So he's been very, very good. And then Matthew Mathis is another guy that they have used 31 times out of the pen. So it is, they definitely have their horses that they go to, and they look really good. So that's kind of a little overview on the homestanding Tar Heels, ACC champions, 32-2 at home, a really complete ball club from top to bottom. I guess they field 973. So just a complete team from top to bottom. If you look at LSU's opponent, Wofford, their first opponent, I should say, Wofford is they are the champs from the SoCon. Had to beat Samford twice in order to win that. Did it. They've won 8 of their last 10 games, so they're fairly hot coming in. The hallmark of this team, the Wofford Terriers, is offense. Wofford is hitting 340 as a team. That is third nationally. Third nationally. So that's going to be an interesting challenge for Gage Jump. Do you feel good about Gage Jump going up against Wofford? Absolutely, you feel good about Gage Jump going up against Wofford because he's one of the best pitchers in the country. And he's proven that down the stretch. So, look, that's a major positive that you have that LSU's 1-2 punch. And you're going to need that because you're facing, like you said, if chalk holds, the number 3 offense in terms of batting average, and then a really complete offense in North Carolina. Wofford and North Carolina could be your first 2. You need Jump Holman. So, that's good. Now, the thing there is, though, Wofford, it's not a overly powerful baseball team. They do hit some home runs, 74 of them, but it's a lot of gap power, really, for Wofford. 125 doubles on the season, which ranks top 25 in the country as well. So, hallmark for them is definitely offense. You look at it from a pitching standpoint, and it's been rough. Zach Cowan is their ace, probably who LSU will face. 9-2 on the year, an ERA of 3.5, 118 strikeouts and 104 innings, just 28 walks in the 104 innings. So, I mean, he's a good one, and that's who you'll be taking your swings against. I guess I can check his handiness here real fast. Well, yeah, there we go. He's a right-hander. So, not going to be an overpowering guy, 5'11", 180, like, not the big imposing figure that you've seen, but a guy who has high pitch ability, relies on pitching and command, and has done really, really well for Wofford so far this year. But after that, especially in the bullpen, it can get ugly for Wofford. I mean, their leading appearance guy out of the pen is Alec Bouchard, 22 appearances. He has an ERA just under 7. So, like, there's going to be opportunity, obviously, for LSU there. But it could very well be a slugfest. Like, you're going to need Gage Jump to be really, really good. You're going to need him to be at his best in order to hold down that Wofford lineup because they're for real. Like, 340, that's third in the nation. That's real. I don't care what league you play in. I don't care. Like that, you know how hard it is for a team to hit 340, and they're doing it. So, you know, there's that. And then, look, I'm not going to go too deep into Long Island right now. The only way LSU would see them is most likely in a loser's bracket game. And if you do, you're going to have Luke Holman going, and you should be able to beat the NEC champ with Luke Holman, and hopefully you're not even in that spot. You know, you shouldn't even be in that spot. Let's say LSU does win the Chapel Hill Regional, because we established this is winnable for LSU. They are playing their best baseball and are playing like a top 15 team in the country right now. Let's say they win. You look at the other half here, and you look at that Tucson Regional, and that is one of the toughest regionals on paper, in my opinion. Arizona just won the Pac-12 tournament. They got really hot down the stretch. They come in, snag one of those last host sites, but they have to face Grand Canyon as their 4, and Grand Canyon beat Arizona in a season series earlier this year. Then you look at West Virginia, and they have one of the best hitters in the country in J.J. Weatherholt, who's going to be a top 10, probably top 15, at least top 15 pick in this summer's draft, I should say, and he's fully healthy. They were talking about that on the selection show. He is awesome. Like he was a finalist for the Golden Spikes Award last year. He's a great player, and really paces that West Virginia team. And they've been on a run here the last few years. They've really improved as a program. And then there's Dallas Baptist, who is one of the best mid-major programs in the country, like in all of college baseball. We know that about DBU. They're the real DBU. So that is like, you talk about a draw that Arizona has to hate. Year 4 is a team that beat you in a series already, and then you get 2 of the best. Like, I think West Virginia is one of the tougher 3 seeds in the country, and then one of the best mid-majors. So that, to me, that regional is a coin flip. I could see any of them winning it, including Grand Canyon. Like, I could see, like, that, you talk about a good mid-major. They're a good mid-major. And I think if I had to pick a team to come out of that, I'd probably pick Dallas Baptist. Their ace is really, really strong. But where you can kind of see some favoritism with Arizona there is Dallas Baptist is going to have to throw their ace facing West Virginia. Like, they're not going to be able to pitch off because they didn't get a week 3. They got a strong 3 seed in West Virginia. So that's a toss-up. If I had to pick, I would probably pick Dallas Baptist actually to come out of that. No disrespect to Arizona. I think they're a very good team and worthy of hosts. And like I said, they're hot. But I mean, DBU was kind of on the hosting bubble for a little bit there and is one of the better 2 seeds in the country as well. So that's a really tough one. And if that happens and LSU wins in Chapel Hill, you could very well be looking at a super regional at the box, you know. So we'll see. Maybe a little bit of bias there for me picking DBU, hoping that happens. But I think they're a really good club, and they would actually be my pick to come out of that. So that's kind of the breakdown there. But that's what I mean when we said off the top, where it's like there's just a lot of interesting teams in LSU's little corner of the bracket. Whether it's Wofford and their offense, North Carolina, they're just kind of overall completeness, DBU, J.J. Weatherholt, and West Virginia, and then Arizona. There's just a lot of interesting aspects of it. So the draw itself, like I said, just right. Let's talk about the SEC getting 11 teams in, because like we said earlier, historic day for the league, new record, and the committee got it right. And we've been on top of it for about 3 weeks here on Musso the Box. We've had this conversation, and I have gone through it over and over again about why this was going to be the year to get 11 teams in for the SEC. If you listen to this show, that should not be surprising to you at all that the SEC got 11 teams in. And it was absolutely the correct move by the committee. This league this year is the best that we have ever seen it. Ever. top to bottom ever. Look at the SEC tournament. The SEC tournament in general was one of the biggest advertisements, and not just because they were putting stats up on the wall behind home plate, but advertisements for the strength of this league when you had 3 teams from Tuesday advance to the semifinals in LSU, South Carolina, and Vanderbilt. The 10 seed, the 11 seed, what was Vandy was like the 9 or something like that. That's depth. That's depth. We can look at where they all ranked in the KPI, and you had, what was it? I think it was like 11 teams in the top 15 or the top 20, 11 teams in the top 20 in the KPI. You had numerous, the stat we referenced over and over again, 13 out of the 14 teams in the league were in the top 45 in the RPI. 13 out of the 14, and that's just because Missouri's terrible. Auburn, who won 5 league games, is a top 50, top 45 RPI team, and you combine all of that with the soft bubble. If you had bid stealing at a minimum, which you did, the SEC was going to get 11 teams in, and they did. And hat tip to the committee, and we were on it here. We got that one right here at Musso at the Box, and we got that one right with about 3 weeks to go in the regular season when we started looking at all the scenarios to get LSU into this tournament. The soft bubble helped. The overall strength of the league helped. Florida having an AD on the committee probably didn't suck either. But it was the correct move. And it's a great day for the league. And it just increases its stranglehold on college baseball. And I'll say this too. I'm happy they did it before the league expanded to 16 teams. Because when Texas and Oklahoma join the league next year for baseball, you're going to see this record broken at some point. And this isn't new for the SEC. Every year, there's 11 teams that are worthy to be in this field. Every year. It just worked out. This is an outlier year with such a soft bubble and the league being as strong as it was. Lack of bid stealing, it worked out that you were going to get 11, and they did. And again, I know I kind of repeated myself there, but it was the right move, and I'm very happy that we nailed that here because, it just, if you really looked at it, you could confidently see and confidently say, yes, they're getting their teams in and they deserve it. So awesome for the SEC. Awesome for us. Give a little pat on the back there. And it should be a great tournament. It should be a great tournament. It is every year. I love the NCAA baseball tournament. Watch, squeeze play and just go around to all the different games. It's Regional Friday and Saturday, man. Those are some of the best, just some of the best days out there. So Tigers are off to Chapel Hill. They have a shot. It is winnable. It is not a favorable draw. It is not the regional death, but it is a winnable regional. And we will see what they do. Gage Jump versus Wofford on Friday. We're going to have you covered wall to wall here throughout the week on Musso at the Box. We'll do a postseason Q&A as well at some point here during this week. It's a thing we do every year, so I'll put a call out on Twitter at some point this week for questions, and we'll go deep dive on each of the 3 teams in this tournament as well. Excuse me, in this regional as well. Kind of piggybacking off of some of the little thumbnail preview that we gave you here. So Tigers are in. They keep their streak alive of making the NCAA tournament every year since 2011. And they're playing their best ball right now, right at the right time. This is when you want to do it, and this is when they're doing it. So y'all keep it locked here. We'll have you covered wall to wall. Smash the like button. Get subscribed on the YouTube channel if you have not already. Get subscribed up on your favorite podcast app if you have not already. Follow me on social media. All those good things. They're greatly appreciated. And y'all be here next time for more on Musso at the Box.